Let me hit you with something that most people can't stomach or can't explain. Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Army Rangers, and other special operations forces are taking their lives at a rate 30% greater than the average military population. Now, I want to just expand on the gravity of that because the average military suicide rate is twice of the general population. So that means special operators, the ones who have been through the toughest training, the toughest missions, and proven time and time again that they are resilient, are taking their lives at a rate far greater than the general population. Now, why is that? Well, I can tell you from firsthand experience, not only being a retired Green Beret and being a retired Night Stalker, I was almost one of those statistics. I almost pushed that to above 30% by being another one of those guys that tragically took my own life. Why is the biggest question that everybody asks after somebody makes that fatal decision. Obviously, we can't read their minds, but since I was close, I can provide some insight into what was going through my mind before I would have made that decision. I want to hone in on the biggest stigma and the biggest lie that surrounds mental health. And that is, I thought if I spoke up that I would be perceived as weak, as less than, and potentially even as crazy. I didn't think anybody would understand what I was going through. And I definitely did not want to expose my deepest and darkest thoughts because they had never happened to me before. And I did not know how the world, my unit, my friends, my family would react to me exposing these scary and terrible thoughts that were going through my brain. The number one reason special operations or elite performers, elite operators are making that decision at a greater rate is because we are taught throughout our military career to push through pain, to endure suffering, to keep going and not quit, right? But the problem is that reinforces the stigmas surrounding mental health, that mental health equates to weakness, all right? Or that admitting you have mental health struggles equates to weakness. And if you can look at these stats, that's clearly not the case. Going through a mental health struggle clearly does not make you a weak person. When you look at it, and at an astounding rate compared to the general population, special operations, the strongest of us, are taking their lives, meaning they are going through mental health struggles. So being strong does not prevent you from going through a mental health struggle, does not make you immune, does not make you invincible, all right? And then on the contrary, going through something does not make you weak. If you are one of those high-performing individuals, you are not weak because your mind is going through something that is out of your control, all right? What I found through my experience was that it was actually the bravest decision I ever made in my life when I finally decided to speak up about my mental health struggles and overcome that stigma that I would be perceived as weak or that I was giving up. Because you know what giving up is? Giving up is actually making that fatal decision to take your life. That is giving up, right? Giving up is not putting your life before your career. Your reputation is important, but if you stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself, your future is much brighter than if you just accept that this is your life for the foreseeable future. So what can we do about it? Because talking about it and complaining about it is not going to do anything. But the first step that we need to make as a community, as a culture, is to get rid of these stupid stigmas that keep people from getting help. And as a result, is ending up in people taking their lives at a higher and higher rate, despite us having more and more resources than we've ever had before. It doesn't matter if we have a million resources right at our front door. If we're not willing to open the door and use those resources, then It doesn't matter at all. So we need to start with culture. We need to fix these stigmas that are standing in the way of people getting help. All right. We need to not look at somebody who's going through something mental health related as less than, because that is not the case. All right. Yes, they're going through something that they do need attention for. Just like if somebody breaks their leg or breaks their arm or whatever, they're going to need some time to recover from that. And that's the same exact thing with mental health. All right. But to an even larger degree, because the stakes are a lot higher when we're talking about mental health. So please, if you're out there and you have the opposing opinion that mental health is weakness, reevaluate how you view people who are in that situation. For one, they don't want to be there. They're not choosing to be depressed, okay? It's happening to them and they don't know what to do. And by reinforcing these stigmas, them not knowing what to do and thinking they're alone is just making everything worse and keeping everybody isolated. I just urge you to take this seriously because it is literally dead serious. As corny as that statement was, that's how serious it is, guys. This is taking lives at a increasing rate, not a decreasing rate. So let's fix the problem. All right. Lastly, I got to say it, subscribe to the channel. If you're getting something out of this, share this video with somebody, because it starts with culture. It starts with our mentality towards this stuff. So we need to spread the word, spread awareness, and just be real, man. Be real and stop hiding behind these facades that everybody's perfect, because that's not the case at all. Thanks for watching. Please do your part.